Core? Why?
You have to remember what led us to this point, okay? Not that long ago, we had 50 different states, 50 different standards, 50 different tests, and what we saw was a progressive dumbing down. I saw in my own school in the South Bronx, not far from this, where we're sitting right now, kids who were counting on their fingers. And then suddenly they'd get the test results back, and they were level 3, level 4, meaning they were proficient, they were above proficient. I knew as a teacher that they were not as good as the test was saying, but that bar just kept getting lower and lower.
George Bush's No Child Left Behind, and so we better lower the standards so we don't leave them behind.
Right. There was no reason for a state not to do exactly that, right? In other words, if I had to prove that my kid was proficient, but I get to set the bar, what would you do? You set the bar really, really low. So you may not like Common Core, but let's remember what brought us to this point.
All right, but now we have central planning. Why is that?
I'm not sure I agree with it as central planning. Look, I'll be completely honest with you. One of the criticisms of Common Core is that you had 41 states, racing to the trough, as it were, to get the federal money. Sure, that's a legitimate criticism. And honestly, I wish it hadn't happened. But you can't unring a bell,
It's really easy for Robert to go here and sell how great this would have been had it been done in a non-coerced fashion, but it was done in a coerced fashion. And in fact, the folks who wrote Common Core asked the federal government to come in and force all the states to do it.
And some states are now saying, oh, we were in, but now we want to be out. Indiana, Oklahoma, South Carolina, Missouri, Louisiana. Sure. You're losing this war.
Well, yes and no. Here's what I know. Right now in America, there's a lot of professional development going on. The new thing is going to come into the classroom, and the principal is going to tell Miss Nelson, who's been teaching for 20 years, here's how you're going to do it now. And Miss Nelson is going to smile, and she's going to say, thank you, Mr. Principal. She's going to shut her door, and she's going to do what she always does because she's a good teacher and knows what works for kids. Now, if her principal can't get Miss Nelson to change practice, I don't think Barack Obama is going to have a much better chance.
Well, actually, because the problem is that Common Core came in with a whole package of things, and that requires things to get into the classroom with the teachers. So along with Common Core, the federal government required states to make those tests matter for a teacher's job performance. So Miss Nelson can't shut her door anymore. Yeah. She can't say, get out of my classroom, federal government, because the feds have gone to the states and said, ooh, you like your education money, don't you? Would be a shame if something happened to it. And so all the states say, even Indiana, where I live, which tried to get rid of Common Core, we basically have Common Core Light because the feds are the piper and they're calling the tunes.
So let's just take a look at what some of the Common Core experience will be like. Here's a question some first graders will get under the standards.
Okay, kids, class is in session.
What is 32 minus 12? 20, right? You just subtract. But not under the new Common Core method.
Why are they going through this backwards method here?
This man who trained in nuclear engineering couldn't understand it.
I don't understand.
He wasn't alone.
This is how you arrive at the answer, my friend.
That's insane. That's so many steps.
Why does it need to be so complicated? Why are you adding things when you're trying to subtract?
We gave people questions for third graders. They got even more confused.
Add 26 plus 17 by breaking apart numbers to make a 10. Use a number that adds with the 6 in 26 to make a 10. Since 6 plus 4 equals 10, use 4.
What?
We gave the engineer another shot.
You're looking lost?
Yes. Why would you break that down that way? I think that's literally 4 steps more than you need to get the same result.
Make sense?
No, that's ridiculous. Now I know why he's having trouble in math, of which I had to pay for math tutors.
Robert, a lot of people are saying, yeah, my kid doesn't like math anymore.
Yeah. Well, but what I would say is that's not Common Core. I mean, when I was teaching 5th grade in the South Bronx, I saw equations like that in my everyday math textbook. That's one of the misconceptions people have. Every day I go on Facebook or Twitter and I see homework assignments and people say, look, that's Common Core. This has been around for a long time. Common Core done well.
These are questions that are part of the curriculum in this state and some others.
Well, that's another issue altogether. If you're talking about...
No, it's not, John. It's not another issue altogether. If you look at Common Core, what it does, the exact text of it says to do exactly what Ricky was out there doing. It tells kids from 1st through 3rd grade, you have to play all these number games before we get to what you call the standard algorithm,
but
stacking the
numbers. But it must be a better way to learn. These aren't idiots pushing it.
Oh, that's right. I mean, I think that's maybe assuming too much.
Robert, I like your Twitter account background where you have Bart Simpson saying, writing on the blackboard, I will quit blaming Common Core for everything.
Sure, Common Core has become a whipping boy. It's blamed for everything from bad textbooks to mystery meat in the cafeteria. It's just gotten silly.
Central planning ought to be a whipping boy. Instead of you guys getting together and saying, here's what everybody will learn, why not give kids choice, vouchers?
Look, I'm a big choice advocate, but I don't see any conflict between choice and standards. And I'll give you an example. All of our cars were built to a certain safety standard. Nobody told us what kind of car to buy, whether we should buy an SUV, a sedan, but they all have certain features. They've got brakes, they've got seat belts, they've got airbags, etc. Do you not want those things? That's what standards do.
I would think the market would do it better, actually, but you've come to accept it with cars, and we accept it
and with food, and with building codes, and with...
Well, no, I'm going to one-up your thing, though, sure. Your car example, because one of my favorite ways to explain Common Core is the Henry Ford response about back when he was making Model T. You can have any color you like, so long as you have it black.
And that's not central planning?
You can. Well, no, my point is, you can have any curriculum you want, as long as your curriculum makes the kid look good on tests. And so when the tests
Ford
come in,
had the deal with GM and competition. The government school system has no real competition.
You know what I find strange about this conversation is one of the big criticisms of Common Core is its central planning. But who buys textbooks? Who hires teachers? Okay. Local school districts. So you've got folks who are saying, we want, be that as it may, but it's not, the federal government's not telling you who should teach your kid in your local school district. They're not telling you what textbooks to buy, etc. So everybody's very quick to blame.
Well, the Gates Foundation is, though, because they set up a committee to review those textbooks for correct fit to Common Core.
You suggest this is all the Gates Foundation imposing some scheme on America, and because that comes with money, of which your organization got almost $1 million, you educrats tend to accept it.
Back in 1833, you know what was not standardized in this country? Time. There was different times in Fort Wayne and Columbus and Cincinnati and Dayton. It was 1207 to 1215
it's good that time is standardized.
But wait a second. And you know why? How we have standard time? Who gave us that? The railroads. It wasn't a government effort. The railroads suddenly were connecting these cities.
And the tie to Common Core is?
Well, the tie to Common Core is standards emerge when we need them. Okay, let's look at what's happening internationally right now. Common Core or no Common Core, we are 20th in math, we are 27th in science, we are, I think, 17th in reading internationally. That problem existed before Common Core. If Common Core goes away tomorrow, if Joy gets your way, we're still going to have those horrible international comparisons. So you want to make Common Core go away, fine. What are you going to replace it with?
Why not have choice be the standard? Parents would quickly figure out which schools taught well. They'd pick their tests.
Look, I'm a big choice advocate, John, but it makes me a little bit nervous.
Doesn't sound like it.
No, well, it makes me nervous because, you can have choice in certain things, and there's a low threshold, there's a low price to pay. If somebody chooses badly, you don't get a second choice at your education.
Well, so they're getting no good choice now. They're stuck in a monopoly.
Okay, so where's the conflict between saying we want choice, but everybody, just like everybody who builds a car, has to build a car to a certain safety standard. But if you want to run a school, there's certain conditions you have to meet.
On the street, we only found one person who liked the new standards.
The concept behind it is a really good idea.
This is a teacher who's been teaching Common Core.
Once people get comfortable with it, I think people aren't going to even remember the way it used to be.
Can you imagine why they might be confused and frustrated?
Absolutely, yeah.
So the teacher tried to explain another kindergarten problem using Common Core standards.
The subtraction sentence would be 7 minus 4. There's 3 left. But if you need one that relates to it, it would be this one because it has all the same numbers.
I don't understand, though. We just said subtraction sentence, but you're showing me addition.
Yeah. I don't know why they did that.
Joy?
Well, I think this really further illustrates, I was thinking what we were talking about earlier is when we're talking about standards, this is the problem with calling this set of Common Core conglomeration standards, because the standard basically implies that there's, something good about it, inherent within the term. So safety standards are something completely different, but that's on a completely different level than walking into a classroom, walking into a community and saying, we know more than you about what your kids should learn when,
But what I don't understand, Joy, is that you're uncomfortable describing the level that kids should be able to get to educationally, but you're comfortable saying exactly what they should learn in school?
Well, I'm comfortable saying that for my own children. I'm not comfortable saying, yes, I should be the great education pariah and get to decide everyone's curriculum.
I look at the Common Core standards as basically all but saying do core knowledge. Make sure that kids get a lot of history and science and art and music because that's what builds strong readers. That's what I've been arguing about for 10 years. And suddenly, it's a bad idea?
No, that's a really great thing to say about 57 words out of 640 pages in Common Core. There's this 57 words say, oh, this should be accompanied by a great curriculum. Yeah, but then they don't go on to provide that great curriculum.
That's what's been missing. Because we can't, Joy. We're not allowed by law to
and good. I don't want you central planners designing a curriculum. Thank you, Robert and Joy. To join this argument, you can tweet using that hashtag #BackToSchool. or post on my Facebook page. We want to know what you think. Coming up, better ways, in my opinion, better ways to learn.